I'm going to show you guys how to set up your document and bring in an image and outline it for our typography project. So this is just part one. So you're going to go into Illustrator, you're going to go up to File, click on New, and it's going to open up your new document window. Now sometimes under Recent you guys have different sizes or you have nothing at all. If you go over to Print, sometimes you have sizes here, but either way, I want you guys to pay attention to this section here. We want to change it from whatever you have here, points, because whatever, to inches. And our width is going to be 17, and our height is going to be 11 inches. So our orientation should be the second one, which is landscape here. We only need one artboard. I changed the title to Typography Animal. If you change this title here, then when you actually open up your new document, it kind of has that name already. So when you go to save it, it's kind of already set up for you. So you want to make sure that your color mode is CMYK right here. If it does not say CMYK, you can click on Advanced Options and change it from RGB to CMYK. RGB is for computer screens and when we're creating things for the web. CMYK is for anything that we're going to create for print. So just make sure it's 17th width, 11th height, and it's inches. Please make sure it's inches. This is really important, guys. And you only need one artboard. Then you're going to click Create, and it's going to open up your new document. Ignore my little dinosaur there. All right, so now we have a new document here. I'm just going to get some of these tools out of the way. So the next step that we're going to have to do is you're going to have to find a picture of an animal, and you're going to have to bring it into Illustrator. So on Google, I found this picture of a Cocker Spaniel because I love Cocker Spaniels. Now you're going to want a profile view, which is a side view of the animal because we're going to do an outline. So you want to be able to see the actual outline of the animal pretty clearly. So you definitely don't want one where the dog is like facing towards you because this is going to kind of look like a blob. You don't want one where the dog is kind of in weird positions like this because that's going to look a little weird, or even something like this because if you're trying to outline it, it's going to look really just awkward. So you want a nice clear profile photo of whatever animal you choose. Then you're going to right click on it and you're going to save image as, save it into your folder. I'm going to just save one on my desktop. Then you are going to open up that folder, or if it's on your screen like this, you can just click and drag it in. Now, the great thing about Illustrator is since we're going to be outlining this image, it doesn't really matter if it's a low-res image or a high-res. Now, if you'll notice, it doesn't fit the page, and we actually don't want to enlarge it. Like if you click on this, hold down Shift, and stretch it out, you can, but it can start to make it look pixelated. Instead, what we can do is we're actually going to zoom in and just work on it small. And then once we have our outline, that's vector, and we'll be able to stretch that. So what you're going to want to do is you have this layer 1 that now has your image on it. You're going to lock that. And this makes it to where you can't move your image around. Now, if your image is very bright like this, or if your image has a lot of black on it, what you can do before you lock it, click on your image, come up here to opacity, and lower your opacity down a little bit. So if you lower the opacity down, it makes it so when you outline it, it's nice and clear and easy to see. So I lowered my opacity down. Now I'm going to lock the layer. I'm going to come over here to create new layer, and I'm going to create a new layer. This second layer is what I'm actually going to be doing my drawing on. We lock the first layer so that way this image doesn't move and mess up my tracing. So now I'm going to use the pen tool, and I'm going to trace and outline my Cocker Spaniel. So I'm going to pause the video. I'm going to outline it with the pen tool really quick, and then I'll come back and you guys can see the finished result. So like I said though, make sure you use your pen tool, and just a quick reminder, click and drag to create curves. Now I've noticed in some of the other projects you guys are starting to have problems with this fill. Make sure you have your black and white preset over here. Your outline will be black, your fill will be white. change that to no fill, and then it will get rid of that fill so it doesn't cause problems. Also, when you guys are outlining, don't come down here and outline the ear. We don't care about that. We just want the actual shape of the animal. And we want it to look good, but it does not have to be perfect. And I'll explain why on the next part. But basically, you're just going to come in and you're going to outline this quickly because we want it to look like the animal. We want it to have some details, but don't worry about getting every strand of hair. And you'll kind of see why in the next video, but we do want the basic shape. So I'm going to pause this, finish outlining it, and come back. Okay, I have finished outlining this. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to turn off layer 1 to where you can't see it, and you should be able to recognize what your animal is. So Cocker Spaniels have these great big coats, little tails, so it looks like a Cocker Spaniel, so that's good. As long as you can recognize what your animal is once you've turned off the image, you're in pretty good shape. So next thing I'm going to do is I'm just going to grab my selection tool, so the black arrow. I'm going to select my outline. This should all be one continuous line. You should not have breaks anywhere in here. Okay, when you guys were creating it with the pen tool, you should not have stopped and then started a new path. Okay, even if they're close to each other. This is not what we want. We do not want separate things like this, okay? It needs to be one continuous pass. When you click on it, it's one line that comes all around and connects, not multiple lines. Now, if you have a break in your lines, there is kind of a quick way to fix it. If you zoom in, use your direct selection tool, select one anchor point on the one line, hold down Shift and select the other anchor. So you have these 2 points selected. Then you right click and push join, and it actually connects them together. Now you have kind of an excess amount of anchors, but at least they're connected. If the anchors don't cause problems, then don't worry about it. But if having multiple anchors there is causing too many problems, then use your delete anchor point tool and just delete one. Okay, so that's how you can join them together if you have that problem. But they should all be one line. So then I'm going to zoom out and I'm going to select my outline. I'm going to hold down Shift and I'm going to enlarge it. We do not want it hanging off. So give yourself a little bit of space. It doesn't need to go all the way to the edge. It doesn't have to touch, but it should fill up your page nicely. So this is part 1 finished. In part 2, we're actually going to start using some text in here. I highly recommend that you don't delete your images. I just make a habit of not deleting them so I'm not actually destroying anything, because if something happens to this and I have to retrace that image, it's a lot easier to just turn on the layer here than it is to go and find that picture again. So keep layer 1 as your image, but have it turned off. It's also extremely helpful if you double click on your layers and you title them. If you double click too much, this will pop up. You can either title it there, or if you just click right here, you can title it there. So I highly recommend that you guys start doing this. So this is part 1.